Welcome to the JusMusic Podcast. I'm your host, Jalen. Marco couldn't be here today, but we got a very, very special guest for you. I've been wanting this guy on the show for a little while now. He is a singer, songwriter, media personality, radio music award winner, actor, entrepreneur, vocal arranger, philanthropist, and creative director. He is the son of gospel singer Crystal Brown Hayward and world-renowned pastor Nelson Gibson Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, Nelson Gibson Jr. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain, bro. You are a very accomplished guy. And like I want to say we're the same age. So I mean, inspiring for sure. So thank you for coming on, bro. I'm really looking forward to this. We're not gonna be too long, and we're just gonna, talk about your music career, talk about what got you into music and some of your future aspirations. So let's get into it, man. Tell the people where you're from and what inspired you to pursue music.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm right here from Charleston, South Carolina. My mother, obviously, she's a singer, and so I've been watching her direct choirs and play the organ and record like 7 live albums, 3 studio albums. I've seen her tour. So that was my introduction to music, if you will. Right. And then I started listening to music on my own. And so I've always loved music, always been around great singers and learned about harmony parts and how to plan live recordings, how to execute your voice and artist development. So those are the things that kind of contributed to the start of my music career. And then I started taking it seriously around 9. So I've been doing music for a little over 10 years now. And so that's been the driving force to making it a career.
And you touched on a lot of cool things, but I wanted to, you said you have been doing it since you were 9 years old, correct? Mm-hmm. And at 9 years old, you released the song, The Anthem, right?
I released the anthem when I was 13.
13. Okay. Mm-hmm. My bad. I got my number. Yeah. but talk about that song, because I was listening to it and I looked up, some of the things surrounding that song and how it was produced by Grammy-nominated writer Michael Brown.
Yeah.
And I mean, just talk about that record, because this was also a radio single too. Mm-hmm. Right. So what was that like for you, recording that song and like seeing the success come from it?
Yeah, so the anthem is a worship song that we sing in church all the time. That, I would go off on a limb and say hundreds, possibly thousands of people have recorded it and recorded their version. I know Todd Delaney has a version. But there was a moment after I recorded Mary Did You Know? I recorded that on my mom's holiday album. So technically that was my first kind of studio appearance. But as a solo artist, my mom was like, it's time for you to do a single. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, I want to do a single. So it was really an experimental kind of thing just to see how it did. And it honestly blew my mind. Uncle Mike, that's what I call him. He really pushed me into greatness. He wouldn't let me half sing. He wouldn't let, being in the studio with him was hard work. And I think he was trying to show me that if you really want this is what it's going to take. Right. And so after I recorded the single, I had a concert. And after the concert, I promoted the record and had a photo shoot and did approved graphics and all the good stuff. And so I had my mom there to kind of help me and hold my hand through the process. Mm-hmm. But that record was really a groundbreaking record for me, because that's when the booking started coming. That's when I started seeing some of the money start to come in. So and I was starting to chart on different radio stations. And so it was a learning experience for me. And, that's a lot to take in at 12, 13. But at the same time, I had a lot of fun. And so I believe I know for a fact that's where everything started for me. So the anthem will always be a special record to me. Corinthian Doctor did the background vocals on it, and it just blew my mind sitting there in the studio watching her craft the background vocals as she did. And she's amazing. She did background on all my records. So I'm I'm so grateful for that record. It'll always be close to my heart.
And with that, I was also looking, man. So at 17, that's when you released your debut album, The Redemption
Yeah.
Story, right? So talk about that a little bit. So, you've been doing music since you were 9 years old. You've seen your mother go on and accomplish great things with her career, releasing, I think you said 3 studio albums and 7 live albums, and then touring. And now you've released, your rendition of the anthem. And then at 17, you released your first album. Like, what was that process like?
It was about the same, except this time I was 16 when I started recording it. So I spent about a year recording it, just a little bit at a time, with Demetrius Doctor, who is a musical genius. He pretty much spearheaded the production. And I knew this time I wanted to do something that was going to be at least a somewhat full body of work. And I chose The Redemption Story because at that time, I put out the single We Always Win. And 2 days after, yeah, so 2 days after We Always Win came out, my father passed away very suddenly. And so The Redemption Story is really just about all of the songs that I either wrote or sang that got me through that season of just blah. You know what I mean? It was just a really bad season for me. And I believe when Above All came out, first of all, Above All wasn't even a single, and it did numbers that shocked me more than our leading single did, So it was a great moment for me to really see that, okay, if you're consistent, if you sing right, if you promote yourself, these are the things that can happen for you. I remember when we had the Redemption Story live experience, there were people there that I didn't even know. And at that time, I didn't get the concept of, people see you on the internet, people see you here, they're going to want to come and see you. I didn't understand that. And so just to see the lines and see, it was just crazy. And I enjoyed that. And to see my body of work finally come to fruition was everything. I always listened to that album in such amazement because I was 16. I didn't really know what I was doing,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I just knew that I wanted to sing and that I wanted to worship the Lord, and I knew that there was a grace and a favor that rested on my life,
right?
And I just knew somehow I was going to get there, and that album was like the first stepping stone to that. I still have people DMing me and calling me and texting me and saying how that album helped them get through their divorce or get through their depression. How Prayer for Grace, alleviated the thoughts of suicide. So if I never sell another record, if I never chart on any other chart,